All right. Yay. Let's see how we're doing here. Too much? Too much. Maybe not. Okay. I'm going to pop this light on over and finish trying to get this set up. Okay. Nope, that's not going to work. All right, we'll try that. Good. All right, pop that in there. And I think we're in good shape. Yay! Hi guys, it's Roxie Allen. We're going to start this beachy scene today. It's super fun, really easy. It's a great beginner painting. I already have paint a go-go, so I'm ready to roll. Let me try really fast to set up one little light and try to add a brightness to this one side. See if I can do it. Can I do it? Maybe I can, maybe not. So, and that might work though. I'm doing, ooh, it may work. Okay, so if you have my to-go kit, then you've got already some nice lines on your canvas and all of your paints. You can pull them out. There'll be little instruments in here. Let's see. See if I can grab them. These little guys, and you can just open up your kit and put them on there. Put them on your plate. I've got my plate already ready to go. It's super messy because I got a little carried away and I was talking while I was doing it. But I have a burnt sienna. I do need a yellow ochre, so I'll have to grab that. That's okay. I've got it in here. I'm doing white and black. I've got a basic magenta, which I really don't use, but I will show you how you can use it if you want to later on. I have kind of this is a sap green, but really you could take any green, add purple to it and make it a little bit more foresty. That's great. This is a green light permanent. This is just teal. It's just a cheapo teal, but I love the color and it works really, really well. And then I normally use phthalo blue, but I'm trying to save phthalo blue for when I really need it because I can't always get it right now. You know how the supply and stuff is going. So I'm just literally using a blue that's like craft blue. So any blue works on this guy. If you are, if you need to, you can add lines. You can add them with paint, but I'll show you basically what I did is come in about halfway and I'm going to do an island that goes down. And then maybe an inch or so under that. Just going to do a little line. And then this will be for later on, but I'm going to go up just somewhere around here, give myself a little dot and do some lines that come out from that dot. Really easy. That'll be my palm tree and a line for my palm tree. And then I like a V. So I make it kind of a loose V, but it gives me a great idea. And kind of do this sort of thing. And then on the other side. I don't want it to be perfect, but that's kind of what I'm starting with. All right, I've got my tea and a seltzer water in case I need that. I have paper towels, and I think we're looking good. I say we are ready to boogie. Let's see if I can My hand is glowing. It's very exciting. Okay, so I'm going to start with my large wash brush. You can use an inch. For me, I'm working on a 10 by 20 canvas. So I'm going to use a 3/4 inch wash brush. That works really, really well. Up here, I just want to get in a bit of sky. So I'm going to take a little blue and a nice scoop of white. And I'm just going to get some color in here. Get some color in there. And if you have my kit, your white will actually be nicer. I'm using a more expensive white, but the viscosity is not as nice. So in my classes and in my kits, I like using a different white, but I'm running out, and so I ended up not giving it to myself because I feel like it's a little more important for my students, and I know how to move paint. So get your sides and the top. I'm doing this at an angle. You don't have to. You could come in, you could do it side to side if you wanted to do it like that. I'm coming in at an angle because I like this painting. Use a lot of paint. Lots of paint. Move that around. Now you can, if you want to, add colors to the sky. You could down here add a little bit. I'm going to grab a little yellow ochre because I didn't put it on my plate. That's totally fine. So I'm just going to grab, whoops, gently. Good. Pop that out, pop that out. And finally I get down. Okay. So I'm just going to grab a little bit of this. And really, do I want much of that? I do want some of that because it's really pretty. If this gets, this is going to add a little bit of green to the sky. And you don't have to do that. You can go just straight blue. You could even add, ooh, I'll show you another. You could, if you wanted, add, what if we, do I want to do that? And a little of that. So you could, if you want, go a little blue, add some of your red, mix that up fairly well, and you're going to get a gorgeous purple color you could totally use on your sky. Let's kind of play around with that. See what you get. And I leave lots of streaks going through because I feel like that is so fun. Later on, when this is dry, you can add to it. If you want to add to it now, I might grab, like right in here, I might grab some white on my dirty brush, and I kind of just tap in some beautiful white clouds. So I'm literally taking a bunch of white. I'm going to go round, kind of round, and then I'm going to go down. I think I kind of want to go like this. And my canvas is super wet. We'll do another one later on where it's nice and dry, and that'll feel really, really good. Okay, you can do something like that and see how you like it. You could also, if you wanted to, take like half a paper towel and sort of mess this up. But for right now, I do like that, but I think I like it better. Nice and smooth. So the nice thing about having lots of paint on here is you get to play around a little bit. And then once that sheen starts to go away, I really like that. I'm just going to leave that. I think I'm pretty happy. I am also going to take some of this. Let's start next with a little bit of this brown, just little bits. Okay, so my brush is dirty and I'm just adding some of this burnt sienna. And I'm going to tap in just a little bit here. I'm going to grab white on my dirty brush and move that in. Just little bits. And I'm going to go underneath my canvas as well. Just little bits. Get some lots and lots of white, because we're not looking for that to be a really dark brown. We're just looking to soften and give this a little bit of depth. Use lots of white. I'm just going to start adding a little bit of a ground right there. And if there are streaks of white, that's totally fine. Okay, good. So I'm going to bring it up maybe 1.5 to 2 inches, something like that. And then I want to wipe my brush off. I want to grab a nice hunk of white again. And I'm going to soften these colors. Soften this up. Okay, so you get the idea. That is, see if I can bring that over there. There we go. That's probably a good place. Okay. And now I'm going to grab a whole lot of, I like tapping in this yellow ochre. So my brush is dirty, grabbing that yellow ochre. And again, I'm going to bring it in. I'm not going to worry about my tree. You'll be able to see where that is. But I want to start whipping that in. And you can see I don't have a hard line. I just fluffed it in. I'm grabbing more white, bringing that in. And I'm going to cross my lines. Okay. I want to bring it in so that this whole V is ready to go. Does that make sense? Okay. If you have a hard line, like say, let's see if I can get a nice bunch. You have a hard line right there. First off, you could just leave it. And secondly, you could just take your finger and soften. That's all you got to do. Okay. And that's a really great start. Now I'm going to got all this same stuff going. Oops, I'm getting paint everywhere. Now let me clean up my mess. Let's see. Are you with me? Hopefully you're with me. Okay. I'm going to take on my dirty brush and grab some white, and I'm going to grab some teal. Okay. It's not very much. And what I want to start doing, I'm going to start kind of in the middle here, and I'm going to just kind of shake. I like going as horizontally as possible, but I'm just going to start combining that in there. So I'm basically doing little strokes like this. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Good. And I'm going to bring it out to those little lines that we made our V with. Okay. So take your time with this. I'm going to pull it forward. You can kind of get the idea. If you need to, you can soften even more. Okay, you can soften with a finger, whatever you want to do. Just get it on there. And take your time, rewind the video if you need to. I'm going to pull a little white. Okay, so I've got a little bit of white there. And then I'm going to pull a little teal. And I'm going to go back. And again, I'm just kind of shimmying, but notice I'm straight as I can. I'm going to go so that is the stroke. Okay. And if you have streaks in here, great. It's actually really a beautiful look without having to do too much more. I'm going to do more to it. But if you want, you could go flat across and just get these like this. But it is kind of fun if you can just get some of those waves already in by going straight across in little bits. Good. So now I'm going to go straight teal. I'm going to pull it up on my sides because I want my sides to be nice and I'm going to gently, so it's not a swoosh, it's straight across. Okay. And now, with about an inch or so left, I'm going to grab my blue. And I'm going to pull my blue. I'm going to start in the middle and see what color I'm working with. And that's pretty straight blue. So now I'm going to bring it down. I can soften this way, gently, barely touch the canvas, move it in. Okay, just move in that color. And now I'm going to grab another hunk of blue. And this time I'm just going to go straight in like this. Does that make sense? A little more blue. And you can go with these little marks like this if you want to. And again, it's straight across. The paint will make the waves and everything for you. But if you aim for straight, you're going to get something that really does resemble water. It's really nice. Okay, something like that. And if you get this and you're like, meh, I bring it down a little so that you don't know exactly where the blue ends and the teal starts. And in this one, you can tell I just went smooth across, just smooth it across. With this one, I'm just gently doing this. So if this gets to where it's all one velvety color or you're losing your colors, just let it dry. We can always add more later. Okay, good. Work on that. And then when you're ready, I'm going to take my dirty brush and just dip it in my green. I'm going to come around my edge like I do. And I'm so sorry. I'm just going to pop over here because I think I'm missing an edge. I am. And that's fine. And I'm going to go whoosh and tap in. I have a dance studio next door. So if you can hear music, that's them. It's not me. Okay. And then I'm going to throw in, because I really like to, oh, I got to get a little blue right here because I know for sure I'm missing that. Okay. Good. Little sip of tea. Good. All right. Beautiful. So I'm taking my big dirty brush and I'm just going to pull in. Let's see if I can do this like this. So you can see I'm using my large brush. Maybe I can pull this closer and whoosh, that sort of thing. Just let it go. That one's a little too thick, so just come back. And if it's just remaining thick and it's driving you nuts, just push, just push. And we can always get it later on. You can use a smaller brush. I have a harder time drawing things with the opposite hand, so I'm just going to do that. There we go. And that's all I want. Just a little something creeping out from the corner. And then maybe I'm going to tap in a little brown. And then a little plant action here. And what I'm doing here is just using the corner of my brush Good. And ba-bum-bum. You could even do that if you wanted to. Just play. All right. Good. Okay. So I say what is that? That's still fairly wet. Okay, it's not too bad though. So what I'm gonna do is take my 1/2 inch brush. And I know the new sets, if you're working with my new set, this is a 1/2 inch, but use something that is similar. So you can see my finger, use just something that's similar. So I'm going to grab white and I'm going to tap in. It's a little scallop. See if I can do this. Should I bring this closer too? Let's see how we're doing. I feel like I can never quite, maybe I just need a better camera. And I'm going to tap in something right underneath. Okay, guys, I'm going to change the lighting really fast and see if that is helpful if I turn this one off. See if that is better. It's a little dark and moody, but you can see the white better, I think. So doing that, and then I'm coming in, and it's like almost stairs. Okay, we're just stair-stepping it. Stair-stepping. Does that make sense? So it's not straight across. You're going at kind of an angle. And then I come in and tap in. I leave the top nice and sharp, and I fluff in little bits. So leave the top nice and sharp, and then fluff in little bits here. Good. I think that's kind of fun. And if you want, you can add other colors. But I think for me right now, I'm going to leave that. Okay. And then, good. So we've got our cloud. And I'm going to start, I want to play now with my palm tree because I love palm trees and I really want to play with it. So do I want to move on from my clouds? Probably yes. Oh, but no, maybe I'll put in a cloud right over here. So I'm going up, something like that, and then down. And I'm just making it light and airy and letting my paint run off. Does that make sense? Okay, and I have to say, I like that cloud better than this one. You can always come in and add more color to your cloud if you want to, just little bits. See if you like that. Okay. All right, so I'm going to start. Oh, that's what I needed to do. It needs to go up with everything. Okay. My streaks are going up, so my clouds really should. This one does go. This one really should start to go a little bit up as well. Maybe kind of fan off there. Okay, good. Woo, so pretty. So right here, I'm going to start with a little bit of my brown. And I'm going to give the center of my palm tree a little dot. You see the dot right there? And then I'm going to pull out a line and see where the very edge of my palm tree is. I'm fine with getting blue in there. In fact, this brown with the blue or with the black is gorgeous. So I'm definitely going to add some black anyway. So I might as well do that. And then I'm going to give this little edge. Now make your palm tree skinnier than you think you want it, because you can always get bigger, but it is much more difficult to hide it once it's a certain size. Okay, so I'm going to go in. I want it a little larger and just gently expand that. Okay. I'm going to try to see. Are you using any medium? Oh, no, I'm not. So I am not using any medium in here. If your paints, I'll show you the viscosity difference too really fast. So these are really runny paints, and I just prefer to work with that. This is a higher viscosity. Does that work? I always forget which direction it goes, but no. So I am just using the paints as they are. If you need to, I do dip occasionally. I haven't had to with this one, but I can pull water. I don't stir. I pull it out gently, and then you'll find that that does help the paint to move a little bit. But here's my trick. Honestly, I have some really swanky paints and I love them because the colors are gorgeous and blah, blah, blah. Okay, but for my white, I use cheap white because it's runny and it moves that color everywhere that I want it to go. So I am a little careful about that when I'm doing gallery work. But really for painting, just for pleasure and stuff, I use a cheap white. This is not as cheap as a white, and that is just because I've run out of cheap white and I need to go get more, but supplies are kind of tricky right now. So that is going to be, I think it's going to be my tree trunk right now. Good. Good, good, good. And I'm so sorry if I'm late in answering the comments. I wish this thing would ding me, but I don't actually know that they're going on. So, all right, I'm going to use my dirty brush and I am going to just add. So I know this is a little weird for me. When I start my personal paintings, I'm going to use a little black or blue. These are, I'm trying to use different brands of paints and experiment, but I've got black and blue and then a little green. And you can do these in a couple ways. So you can go, you know, and just kind of tap in these palm branches. You can go whoosh and do just long strokes like that. You can do, this is my favorite one from, what was it? This was high school where we did woo. And then it was this where we did that kind of thing. And all of them look good. Like all of them look good. And this one, I definitely did more of this and tapping that down. But they're really fun. So go ahead, get that in there. I'm going to use a little more. Oh, which one do I want to go with? Well, I think I'm going to stick with this guy. I'll stick with this. So I'll go, yeah, and I'll do that. And then just make it a little more jagged. But so you can see it. So I'll do those again, and maybe I'll do them on a white sheet of paper because it is fun to kind of experiment. Can you guys all see that one? I'm sure you can. And we'll just ever so slightly move that down. But you can do, get your dot, get your line, no matter what you're going to do. And you can do the line like this. That sort of thing, which is a great way to do it, right? So long line in the middle, short on the sides, that sort of thing. So it's a really great way. And the other way is to gently bring down in small strokes. Does that make sense? And that's kind of fun. Maybe another one right here. Good. Something like that. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to finish up here. And you could go with more of these if you want to. I recommend odds because for some reason that just feels better. That just feels better. And I do feel like something needs to be down there. And then here I'll go. So just use the edge of your brush, angle it if you need to. And then maybe I'll do another one right here. Okay. So something like that. And I'm pretty happy with it. This might not be my favorite, so I'll just add something like that. Okay, I'm going to let that dry. I am going to come in with black, and I'm going to do 3 coconuts. Now, if you need to use a smaller brush for this, that's totally fine. And I probably will when I come back later on. But that's good. I think I'm pretty happy with that. And then maybe I throw a little more black into the shadow of my stem. So maybe that's somewhere in there. Okay. Good. So let's work. Let's let this dry. And then let's work on waves. So I am going to wash that brush. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but I'm going to dab it on a paper towel. And I'm going to grab little bits of white. Okay. So at any point, I'm going to take a line I really like maybe this one right here. And I'm going to shimmy a little bit of white in there, just a little bit. And maybe I'll go right here, shimmy a little white in there. And towards the front, in fact, I really do prefer to work a little down on this. I'm still going fairly horizontally. I'm going to rub these streaks. Does that make sense? And then let's see, are there any other questiones? Good. Right in there. And I'm going to rub this guy out a little bit. Just let it trail out. And if it gets too watery, that's fine. If you need to, you can have another brush handy and come in and gently break that up a little bit. Okay, that's up to you. Again, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to tap in little bits. And I'm going to soften what I feel like I need to soften. So try it a couple different ways. If you go underneath, see what you've got. But you can also just add little bits, you know. See, I like it in there. And I'm just adding little bits. Maybe right in here. Maybe something. And don't go too far back. That's probably a good way to go. And then again, I come in with a little brush, maybe a little teal. Maybe I clean up. No, I don't like that brush. Not quite that little. But I've got a little 1/4 inch wash brush here. Maybe I tap in this stuff and just add a little. And for me, I'm trying to make my lines fairly straight. Okay. And I'm going to add in the tiniest hint. I'm going to take a little blue and a little white, and I might ever so gently add a little bit here and there. So it's almost like scribbling. And you can get really specific if you want to and add a brightness. Ooh. Sometimes just letting your hand wobble works the best, like this. So here's the cool thing. If you love that, fantastic. If it doesn't work as well as you had hoped, you can always play with it. You can always wash over it. You can come in with more blue back here and just scribble it in, or you could come in and make it nice and silky, whatever you prefer to do. If you go just a little bit at a time, you're in good shape. And at this point, you can add more yellow. If you want to scribble that in a little, it'll turn green because I've got some stuff on my brush. Let's see if I can move this just to the side ever so slightly. Good. Okay. So I think we're in great shape there. If you want, you can add more brown. Scribble that in. And just let that sort of lie. If you need to, and literally I am just scribbling this in. If you need to, you can always soften. Okay. I'm going to come in and put a little brown next to my plant. Just little bits. And now I'm going to take a little bright green and just a little bit on each one. See. That's it. And then over here. Okay. Good. All right. I wish this had another way. Okay. Good. So the next thing I want to do is come in with that same brush. If we've got it in there okay. I've got my dirty brush, and now I'm moving in to that light green. And on the light green, we can start to add, if you want, just little bits. And you can pop in this way. Something that just gives it a little bit of a brightness. Okay. And you could even use a little of that yellow if you wanted to, and add a little bit that way. It's kind of fun. And the palm tree, I say, is next. So I'm going to take, can I do that? I'm going to gently switch this over so I can hold it. Okay. So I'm going to take on my dirty brush. I've got my light permanent green. And I'm just going to gently pop in. Oh, I've got some yellow there too. Well, that was a happy accident. That's fine. I'm going to pop in the same strokes I made, some of that green. Does that make sense? Same strokes that I did. Let's see if we can pop this a little closer for you. Same strokes right in there. That whole thing. And then this. Okay. And this one. Now, it is totally up to you how much you do. Pop in. But don't cover up. Just use the same strokes, but don't cover up all of that dark underneath. Does that make sense? And then I have to say, I do like using a tap of blue and popping it in here and there. It's just really pretty. And I do it just for shadow. Now with the middle, I'm going to grab a smaller brush, whatever small brush you've got. I'm going to grab my brown. And again, I'm not going to cover up all of my black. I want a good amount of black in there. I'm going to do my brown, and then I'm going to grab a little bit of my yellow ochre. And I'm only going to do one side. And that gives me sort of the beginning of some really great stuff. Now, everything is really wet, so I'm going to let it dry. Meanwhile, I can take a little bit of that yellow ochre on my brush, and I can give myself, I'm just adding a little bit of texture for my palm trunk here. And it's literally just kind of scribbled on there. See that? Just scribbled on there, okay? And you can do more or less, whatever floats your boat. Like you can come in, just kind of play with this. You could even do designs in the trunk. It's super fun. Okay. And then I'm going to go back. Now you can take a smaller brush if you want, or you can take the same one. I'm going to take some white, and on these small brushes, it's hard to just pull it straight out, but I'm going to take a nice bright green. And this time I want to accentuate just a few things, not as many as I did before. That sort of thing. And you can keep going on this. You can make it as light and as bright as you want to. Let's see if we have any other questions. Good. And you can see I left a lot of drama in here. I didn't. I left this just gentle. And you can decide how much you put, how much you highlight. If this has too much for you, just keep going a little bit and soften as you go. I think that's super fun, actually. I really like that one. So I might add a little highlight, just little bits in here. Might add a little here. If it's too muddy, just wait for it to dry. Okay? Just wait for it to dry. Just play around. Now, if you want, I'm going to work on those just a little bit, but I want to wait for my trunk and my coconuts to dry. So you could just grab a little bit of brown. And you can do that sort of thing in the sand if you want. And add some footprints. Get lighter as you move on. So like that's actually a little too dark for me. And just play with it for a second. And here's a really cool trick. If they don't turn out as well as you wanted them to, just get the tiniest bit of water and scrub. And gently pull that color off. And that's kind of fun. Something like that. Maybe you don't do any. Now, I did give you a magenta because if you want to, you could do this thing where you added some tropical flowers. And that works really, really well with, you might put some of those down and then grab some of that yellow, pop it in if you want to. You could have also put more purple in the sky, but, and maybe I will. I don't know. Do I want a little more purple in the sky? Maybe in here. I don't know. This is the part where we get to play a little bit, you know. Make sure anytime you wash your brush that you dab it on your paper towel. And then I might just play a little bit because I feel like I need more action in my sky. Let's pull it up a little. More action in my sky. So I'm going to grab some blue. And I'm grabbing red. And I'm going to see something really fast. Okay. And again, this is low viscosity paint. So let's say I want to pull in some purple. Ooh, that's kind of fun. So I'm going to pop that in just a touch higher. Okay. And I'm going to fade this. So I'm making almost a triangle, but I want to fade that a little bit. I'm going to fade that on the bottom. And then for me, I'm going to grab white on my dirty brush and pull it in. And I'm going to soften with my finger. You can soften in lots of different ways. That's kind of fun. And then I can come back in here, soften a couple other ways. Okay. Ooh. And that's kind of fun. If it's too much, like for me, that's a little too sharp. Just play around with it. And here's the nice thing. Oh, I've got brown in there now. Super de-duper. If, by the way, I'm clearly not panicking about the brown, just let things happen. Sometimes it's fine. You can't do that with all of life, but sometimes with a painting, you can just experiment and see what happens. Maybe you come in with a little more white and just fluff it on in there. Do we like that? Maybe we like that. Maybe we want a little more in here. It looks like a storm's rolling in, which is pretty killer. Just okay, let's see what we've got. I kind of dig it. I feel like we might need some purple over here in order to just give it a little balance. Just a little bit. Something like that. I like it. And maybe I make a bit of a pink. Ooh, it's like really crazy pink. So I just took red. Just, this one doesn't even have a pigment. It's just craft paint. It's red. And maybe I pop in a little tiny hint over the ocean. And I'm barely touching this because I don't really want it too much. Just kind of look at that. And if you want to, you can grab a finger and just gently soften. You could also grab a baby wipe or the tip. Make sure the baby wipe doesn't have anything in there, but make sure there's no drippies. I just added a little water to this, and you can soften and just play with it a little bit. And that's kind of fun. Oh, and look, if you get messy, then you can normally grab a little paper towel if you catch it right away and just soften. I don't know where that came from, but that's fine. Good. And then I am going to come back in. I know my brush has still got pink on it. I don't care. And I'm going to pop in a little more highlight. And again, as neat, as jagged as you want. Okay. If your brush gets too fat, you can wash it. Go ahead and wash it. And then you're going to take it and just gently pull that. Like, you don't want to pull the bristles out, but just gently do this sort of thing. Okay? That makes sense, and get a nice chisel back. And that's good. All right. And maybe, yeah. You can see maybe if you want a little extra blue in there. I mean, you can just keep going for days on this stuff, you know. You guys, I can't stop. It's so hard. It's so hard to stop. Okay. I think that's great. That's really fun. All right, my friends. I'd love to see what you paint. Good. All right. I think that is probably going to do it for me. And I'll try to, oh, that's right. I did want to do one more thing. Now that this is basically dry, I come in with a little white, and a little of my yellow ochre, and just give it a final highlight. And my paint's still really not dry. I thought it was dry, but I was wrong. Let's see if I can do this again. So it's yellow ochre and a little white. And that is a really bright highlight, and it can be toned down because the yellow ochre isn't really doing much in there. Just soften. It's kind of fun. Yeah, this is turning out to be just white, but I really like it. Good. All right, my friends, have fun, play around, and show me a picture of whatever you do if you do it. So it's kind of fun to see. And remember, if you really love something on your painting and you want to experiment, wait for at least, I would wait a whole day. But if that doesn't work for you, because you're impatient, like me, wait for a couple hours maybe, because then you can wipe it off. You know, like if I do this and I don't like it, then I can easily come grab a little paper towel and pull that off. Okay. And tap it back in. But wait until it's dry to do that, because otherwise you will lift paint. And there we go. That's fun. Yeah. Good. All right, you guys, don't forget to sign your name at the bottom. Thanks for playing. I'll talk to you soon.